Alright, this is just a real quick little video showing how I used to make up shims when I was a machinist back in the day. I've got two really small crank arms that I need to machine up for a little engine, and they're 1mm thick. Now the only stock that I have on board at the moment is a bit of 1/8 stock, and I've filed it so that I get a nice flat edge on both sides, or a flat face on both sides, because it did have quite a convex curve in it. So we flattened that out. What I've also done is I've pre-drilled all the holes while this material is thick, trying to drill those size holes in a 1mm piece of stock. It's not going to happen unless I make up jigs to sandwich it into to the machine. So I've pre-drilled all of the little holes, and I've drilled and reamed the 1.5mm diameter and the 6mm diameter at the top. Now, as I said, one of the things I used to do when I was a machinist, we had to do, was to make up set shim sizes, and these were used under levelling rolls in an aluminium processing area called prep line area, and we had to machine them up out of brass stock. So this was a method that was shown to me, so I used it, was shown to me, and I used it quite a bit, so I can't take credit for it. But what we're going to do is we're going to machine this down to 1mm. So let's just check and see what the sizing is roughly at the moment. This is going to be a bit awkward with my hands in the way, but anyway. So I've got my little depth gauge here. I'm going to press that in. I'm at 2.96. So I've got roughly 2mm that I need to take off this. Let's have a bit of a look at the setup. So I've got a parallel in here up against the moving jaw, pushing up against the brass strip, and I've got a backing parallel that covers the full face width. And it's important to do that. When they start getting thin, they will tend to peel over. And the other thing you'll find too is the holes that hold the jaws into place for the socket header cap screws. When it gets really thin, you'll actually start putting a shadow mark into the part that you're machining. So important that you back this right up. And we're going to climb mill this, and the idea of climbing milling is that the force is going to go back into this parallel. So if we try and do it standard cutting, it's going to pull the part away and causes all sorts of grief. So we're going to climb mill, pushing the part into the parallel. All right, let's get set up, and we'll get a first cut in, and we'll see how that looks. We're coming 1/2 mm. Let's see how we go. It's important we come back to the same start point, so I have zeroed that out on the DRO. Let's come in another 1/2 mm. Let's just check and see where we're at. 1.95, so 0.95 of a mil to go. Another half a mil. Right, so we've got about 0.3 left to go. So we're going to feed into that now. So I'm going to go about 0.25 and leave a little bit to lap, just with a bit of emery. Alright, 102, we'll leave it at that. It'll give me just a little bit to lap with. Let's get it out and we'll have a look at it, eh? Okay, so that's how it's come up. I've just checked that on the calipers. It's actually measuring up at 1.08, which is fine. It's got roughly 4th hour. I've just got to lap off. We'll use that to get rid of the machining marks. Well, not that there's any machining marks there, but it's a very quick and easy way to produce a very accurate shim off thin stock. If you try to clamp down this any other way, it's going to be bowing and vibrating and carrying on and doing all sorts of silly things. I've come down quite thin on these in the past. I've come down to around about, gosh, 18th thou, I think. So very, very thin indeed. And they work quite well. So that was shown to me by my old leading hand, Adolf Loggers. So good on you, Adolf, if you're watching. I was lucky when I went to the machine shop. We had a lot of European machinists, and these guys were absolutely brilliant. They'd spent many years getting to what was called the first class machining grade, and it used to irk them a lot when us Aussies came out of our apprenticeships and we were put straight onto first class machining rates, and they'd spend 10 to 12 years earning that particular class. But it was a great environment. I learned an awful lot off those guys. They were very, very good mentors. Alright guys, so just a short one, just to show you how I create very thin shims. Alright, we'll see you soon.